Hello, welcome to this Scorpio full moon forecast. My name is Sarah Waggle. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. As usual, please leave a comment. I would actually really love to know how the eclipse on April 8th went for you, as well as the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on April 20th went for you. How did things show up? What has transpired? That's been about 2 weeks now, as of the date of the full moon. Maybe not when you're necessarily watching this, but you know what I mean. But how did things show up for you? So personally, I helped host an event in my town, and I was the resident astrologer and had a lot of fun. We had a great turnout. Our vendors were well supported, and it was great. It was really great. And to see a total solar eclipse, the first time I've ever seen one, that was crazy. If you've never seen one, basically the sky gets dark except for like one little spot where you can still see the sun kind of. But then the horizon, there's like it looks like dusk on the horizon. So it is a really interesting, magical. I was moved almost to tears when it actually happened. I just thought it was really magical that, God could do this thing. And so it also got cold. It was fairly warm. We were all in like t-shirts, and then all of a sudden I had like, as it was getting darker, I had to put my jacket on. But anyway, so we had a really good event, and I talked to a lot of people about the astrology of the event. So leave me a comment. I would love to know how the eclipse was for you. Were you in the path of totality? I'm in Southeast Illinois, so that's where we were for path of totality, and whatnot. And then, of course, April 20th was the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction at 21 degrees of Taurus. And so I would love to know what epiphanies, what downloads, what energy you may have felt, what showed up, what surprises. Uranus is about surprises, and all of that. And in general, please feel free to drop a comment on this video. I really appreciate all the comments from the solar eclipse, new moon in Aries video. That just really made my day, as I was going through some family stuff at the time around that eclipse. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get into this full moon in Scorpio. All right, so if you're new to me, then you may not know I have a moon in Scorpio. I'm a little familiar with moons in Scorpio. I actually really love the energy of this entire Taurus season. I think it's a really great opportunity to dig in with our five senses, remind ourselves that we're humans, we're here to have a human experience, and all of the things. The Scorpio moon may feel like a good size purge. The sun will have squared off with Pluto at 2 degrees Aquarius prior to this full moon, and the full moon just hours before it peaks at the full moon, which is at 4 degrees of Scorpio. The moon will have squared Pluto at 2 degrees of Scorpio Aquarius. So as it's peaking, we're going to feel that Scorpio or that Pluto in Aquarius build up to this full moon. Pluto is known to be the co-ruler of Scorpio along with Mars. And Scorpio is transformative on a very deep, like psychological level. So it can feel very purging. It could feel like we're really releasing some things that don't serve. And I feel like that has a lot to do with whatever epiphanies or downloads or energetic nudges you have felt since not only the eclipse, but the Mercury cazimi that happened on the 11th, and then any sort of things that showed up, popped up around the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on the 20th. So we've had a lot of opportunities. Mercury, yes, is still retrograde, but we've had a lot of opportunities to feel nudges, downloads to get after something. And I feel like since this full moon is happening in Scorpio right after the moon's been in Libra past the South node, we're kind of like, okay, all of this toxic, traumatic bullshit crap, this job I hate, this situation I hate has got to go to really appreciate and feel this Taurus season. And so, if you've got placements at 4 degrees of the fixed sign, so Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, and what did I miss? Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo. Good. You may feel this one very intensely. And if you have placements at 4 degrees of Pisces or Cancer, you may also feel very emotional around this full moon. And so it's definitely, I have a love-hate relationship with the Scorpio Taurus axis, mostly because I have like some significant Scorpio placements. However, I feel like this is a good thing. Like I often say this in new and full moon videos is, what's ready to go. And we humans get very resistant, and this is fixed water. Taurus is fixed earth. Aquarius is fixed air, and Leo is fixed fire. These are the most stubborn signs in the zodiac. We have a hard time letting go. And so, but what's ready to go. What is not in alignment with you. What feels gross, what feels like it's just a pain in the ass to continue to do or to continue to participate in. And so it's time to let it go. The South Node in Libra is really asking us to let things go that don't serve us properly, that don't serve our soul, that don't serve our mission, and that, are not fulfilling to us. And so feel into that as we get into this Scorpio full moon energy. And this peaks on the 23rd. Mercury goes direct on the 25th. And then after that, let me just tell you, this energy gets yummy. Is probably a good way. Venus is going to move into Taurus, which is her home sign. Mars is going to move into Aries, which is his home sign. And so the month of May, and particularly this Taurus season, so through May 20th, is going to be a good quality time to do the things. And I will also say that we probably have until June 30th to really get going, do the things, make the actions, launch the products, all of the things. That's because by the end of June, we get into more heavy retrogrades season, and things will get really sluggish, and you're going to be like, fuck. And so whatever you're after right now, whether that's a career shift, launching a product or a project, or, whatever. I'm not sure about relationships. I'd say if you feel like it's the right time to get into a relationship, do it. But I don't know. I'm not a relationship expert because I ain't been in one in a long time. But anyway, so be cautious, of course, use discernment, of course, because as much good energy as we're going to have with Taurus, with Venus in Taurus, with Mars in Aries, we're also still dealing with Saturn and Neptune and Pisces. And that is just it's made its presence known in the last month. And so it's definitely a place where you want to be as discerning and sift through all the information. Don't get caught by the low-hanging fruit that looks pretty on the outside, but it's gross and rotted on the inside. And so, just always be aware of that. Manipulators and narcissists are everywhere. They are everywhere. So anyway, let's jump into the presentation, and then I will, of course, be back for your sun and rising signs. And you can move forward and backward through this video by chapter. and all of the things. So of course, feel free to do that. And again, as always, just please leave a comment, like the video. I really appreciate it. It just filled my heart to see all of the comments on the last video and on any videos in between. And of course, Moon Astrology Tarot is every time the moon changes signs, you can catch those videos. Admiral Sarah Chronicles is every Wednesday. And then I will also be doing the Taurus Zodiac tea tasting. So be looking forward to that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And let's get into this presentation. All right, welcome to the keynote presentation for this full moon in Scorpio. Full transparency and all of that. I recorded this video over several days, and because of that, it may seem disconnected. It may seem a little bit lack of flow because I may have actually like started it and then had some integration and some upgrades and like just feeling my own stuff. And so I feel like there might be parts of this that are just going to sound completely different. And you're going to be like, wait, what? Did she like switch personalities? I didn't. I just went through my own I'm going through my own transformation. And I'm telling you this not to like excuse myself or justify myself, but like we're all going through some level of something, and it's all okay. And it's also okay if you take the time to feel the upgrades, feel the integration, and feel the expansion that's happening for you. It's also okay to rest. It's okay to give yourself the grace and the space. And so anyway, I just wanted to put that out there in case y'all are going through something and you're like, man, you know, you're beating yourself up because you're not getting your projects done. It's okay. Like we're all going through some level of something. So anyway, again, not an excuse or justification, just me letting you know that if this sounds like I have two different personalities, it's probably because I did in the moment. So anyway, let's go ahead and get going. All right, so let's take a look at this energetic overview for this full moon and surrounding energies. I'm starting to feel like a broken record to say that we're in Taurus season, but we still have heavy Aries and Pisces energy. We still have, 5 planets points in Aries and 3 in Pisces. And so that'll shift as Taurus plays out. But for the moment, while it's Taurus, Sun in Taurus, and Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, give it a minute for everything else to catch up before the end of Taurus season. This Taurus season really feels a lot about senses and sensing the earth, tasting good food, smelling good flowers, hearing good music, hearing the birds chirping, hearing the sounds of the earth, hearing waves crashing, seeing the sunset, seeing the sunrise, seeing the trees bloom, the plants bloom, all of those things. Touching, maybe it's touching grass, playing in the dirt, those sorts of things. Appreciating the earth, but also appreciating like your earthly presence, like your presence on this earth. Attention to epiphanies, downloads, intuitive nudges, things that you have sensed over the last month or so. It's going to really support you in getting after what you're after. It's really going to support you in, releasing the things or letting go of the things, the people, places, and things that don't serve you, and embracing the things that do support you to keep going. So be attentive to whatever has come through since the eclipses, specifically the solar eclipse, what come through since Mercury has been retrograde, and what has come through since the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on the 20th. So You've had a lot come through. Now it's time to tune into it and see what you can do with it. Retrogrades are quickly approaching, so I'm not the astrologer that will tell you that you have a deadline. However, there are times when the energy is more supportive than others. Right now, we have some really juicy, supportive energy to get things done. So know and understand the difference between discipline and motivation. You can be motivated to go to the store and get the groceries, but not disciplined enough to come home and meal prep. You can be motivated to drive yourself to the gym, but not disciplined enough to put your phone down in the locker room and go out and actually do your workout. Okay, we've all done that, haven't we? Not motivated to open your laptop, but not disciplined enough to actually focus and write and do the things. This has been me a lot lately. I'm motivated to do the things, but I'm lacking the discipline to get things done as efficiently or in a timely way as I would like. So that's kind of been my situation. So there's also like being compassionate, giving yourself the grace and the space, but also discerning, if you're not motivated to do it, is it really the thing you want to do? Right? Like if you're not even motivated to go to the grocery store and get the groceries to be disciplined and do your meal prep, are you even interested in meal prepping? If you're not even motivated to go to the gym or whatever it is, are you even motivated to do the workout? And that can go for anything. Apply that to anything. Is it opening your business, starting your blog, starting your podcast, whatever it is? If you're not even motivated to do the thing, are you even interested in doing the thing? So maybe something's out of alignment. So it's an opportunity to really check in and say, do I even care about that? Or is that something that I'm just doing because I think it's what I have to do? Could be conditioning or something like that. So something to think about as we move forward is, what are you motivated to do, but what are you able to discipline yourself enough to do? Discipline equals freedom, like Jocko Willink likes to say. Remember that the closer you are to a breakthrough, the steeper the climb, right? The closer you are through a breakthrough, the more distractions you'll have, the more drama that could come up that could distract you, the more you have self-doubt, the more you have, self-sabotage potentially, all of those things. So the closer you are to a breakthrough, the steeper the climb. So be aware that if things are cropping up and that are keeping you from doing the thing, being disciplined to do the thing, it could be just a distraction to keep you from it, right? We can all experience this. Like somebody reminded me today, like no matter the transformation, you're still human. You still get stressed out. You still experience life. So keep that in mind as we move through this full moon cycle. All right, we're going to look at some of these transits. As always, tune into the Moon Astrology Tarot on a regular for more details, more energy around these transits. And always remember that astrology works in cycles, it works in waves. So just because Jupiter Uranus conjunct on the 20th, you may have felt it a week ahead of time. You may still be feeling it. It just kind of depends on how it landed for you in your natal chart. You may not have felt it at all. Who knows? But I do feel like this Jupiter Uranus conjunction, we're seeing tons of earthquakes already. We're seeing a lot of geo activity anyway. It's conjunct at 21 degrees Taurus in a fixed earth sign. So those kinds of things are going to happen. We could all experience some level of surprise, whether it in the, relationships with the planet, with Earth, like weather related things, or financial type things. Just depends on how it's landing for you. On the 21st, Sun square Pluto. When the Sun conjunct Pluto back in January, Pluto was at 29 degrees of Capricorn. Pluto is now at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So Sun square Pluto in Aquarius is going to be a different flavor than the Sun conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. So Capricorn is more rigid. It's more systems and structures. Aquarius, however, is humanity. It's technology. It's futuristic. So Sun square Pluto, Sun in Taurus square Pluto, that vibe is feeling a little different than the vibe of the Sun conjunct Pluto back in January. The 25th, Mercury direct conjunct the North Node in Aries. And so, hooray, for those of you who love Mercury retrograde, the 25th is your last day to appreciate it. For those of us who don't love Mercury retrograde, on the 25th, we're done with it for now. And then on April 28th, Mars conjunct Neptune. I mean, we're already feeling this, the illusory, the delusional, all of the things, shenanigans and whatnot. I mean, it's hard to know what's real and not at this point. So it's kind of like, stay in your truth, stay in your lane, follow your heart. All of that continues to be the case. On the 29th, Venus enters Taurus, one of her home signs. And then on the 30th, Mars enters Aries. So we get the feminine energy and the masculine energy in their home signs, where they've both been in, not so favorable placements for the last month. And so I feel like this could just add some good to the Taurus season, but also, you have to remember that Taurus is money, and Aries is war. And I'm not saying that we're going to war. You can think what you want. I have my own opinions. But I feel like there could also be like that disciplined energy. Like, war doesn't have to mean like a war, exterior war. It could mean an internal war with yourself. Venus and Taurus could be your own value system with yourself, your own self-worth, right? Yes, there are things going on in this world. I get it. But it's you get to choose whether that like is the thing that you're going to follow, or if you're going to work on simply following your heart, your soul, your mission, your plan, all of that. And it's hard, I get it. And then, of course, Venus enters Taurus. That means that she's going to square Pluto in Aquarius. Think back to February, particularly the 16th, 17th, 18th, when we had all the personal planets in Aquarius for a few days. That was my birthday present from the universe, is all the personal planets were in Aquarius. Okay, and then on May 2nd, Pluto's going to station retrograde at 2 degrees Aquarius. Typical, normal. He does this for 5 months a year. So that's a thing. May 3rd, Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces. You thought everything was weird and confusing now. So 29 degrees is the last degree of any zodiac sign. So when a planet gets here, it's like the most intense, spikiest energy of that sign. And then on May 6th, Mercury conjunct Chiron for the third time. So I mean, just, it's continuing to break up with your victimhood story. Is about as simple as I can get with that. So that's the transits. As always, tune in to the Moon Astrology Tarot for further information and more detailed information as things play out. So let's move on. Alrighty, this full pink moon will peak on April 23rd at 6:47 p.m. That is Central Time, so adjust for your time zone. Of course, we have the sun at 4 degrees of Taurus, the moon at 4 degrees of Scorpio, and Pluto at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So it's a wide orb, but this full moon does square Pluto and Aquarius. So as it is right now, we have the sun, Uranus, and Jupiter in Taurus. And shortly we will have Venus in Taurus and eventually Mercury in Taurus before the end of Taurus season, I think. Yes, I'm right. So We have Scorpio, that is a fixed water sign. It's all about transformation. It's all about, kind of revealing your shadows so that you can heal them and release them. We have Taurus, that's a fixed earth sign, that's inviting us to appreciate material possessions, honor our self-worth and our value. Really, what I feel like is we're being guided to our purpose of service for others and for ourselves. So it's kind of this dividing, I don't want to say dividing line, because it's really a line in the sand, meaning it's pretty easily removed or easily adjusted. But there's kind of this, being stuck in the drama cauldron of, not letting go of things, the South Node in Libra. And then there's the illusionary stuff that's happening with Saturn, Mars, and Neptune and Pisces. But then there's all this Aries, North Node, Mercury, Chiron, Venus, and Aries that's really like, gesturing towards those new beginnings, letting go of old ways of being. This full moon is like really supportive of all of the activity that's been happening between Mercury and Chiron and Mercury in the North Node. It's like, this opportunity to really let things go that don't serve you and invite in, welcome in your blessings. And we talk about it quite frequently in coaching that a lot of people aren't ready for their blessings. And a lot of us aren't. A lot of us get caught in self-sabotage. We get caught in, no, I'm going to stay in this relationship because I don't want to be alone. Yet, if you get out of the relationship, and I'm not saying break up, I'm just giving a little, what is this, a hyperbole, a hypothetical? Of like, if you let go of the relationship that's not serving you, then you're able to actually like do things that make you happy, that do things that allow you to serve a greater purpose, and whatnot. So, and I know people don't like it when I say and whatnot, but that's all right. My point is that, this full moon is so supportive, but it is going to kind of potentially like dig at things. Scorpio likes to investigate. It likes to get to the bottom of the situation. You ever meet with a Scorpio and Aquarius? Like, y'all, we find out. We find out. And especially if we team up, that's fun. Yeah, I've teamed up with some other people who have Scorpio Aquarius energy, and we're fun. We are some fun people. Anywho, I digress. But you get like the intellect and the humanitarian aspect of Aquarius combined with the investigative, transformative, deep dive, wants to know all of the ugly, the ugly secrets of Scorpio. You combine those together and like, it's just a beautiful combination. And then you add this earthy sun to it. Although the Taurus energy is far from grounded right now because of Uranus and Jupiter. But anyway, the point is that like it's all about finding your value in yourself. And even if you are like completely ugly and emotional sometimes, you're still a beautiful soul on this planet. So anyway, I love this full moon, really. I mean, it's a hard one because it's a lot of like asking us to let go of things that don't serve us, that don't allow us to reach our potential. But I love it because it's like, okay, the more we let go, the more we get to allow in that's in more alignment with what we want and where we want to go. So that's what I got for the chart. Okay, let's take a look at the lunation cycle. Of course, we are in a fixed cycle right now, meaning stubborn. Not really stubborn, but like doesn't like change. Yet we have so much change energy going on. This could it could feel kind of rockety. Anyway, so of course on the 23rd, we have this full moon at 4 degrees of Scorpio. And then on May 1st, we will have the third quarter square moon at 11 degrees of Aquarius. I believe that's the same date that Venus squares Pluto in Aquarius. So got some aspecting going on there. And then on May 7th at 22:22 Central Time, which is 10:22 p.m. In military time. There's nothing significant about it. I just like number things that are fun like that. I'm just a nerd. Central Time, we have the new moon in Taurus. It's at 18 degrees of Taurus. I really like this new moon in Taurus. But we'll see how that energy plays out as we get closer to it. And then on the 15th, we will have the first quarter square moon in 25 degrees of Leo. And then on May 23rd, we will have the full moon at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. The sun will by then be in Gemini. So that is the general outlook for the moon. Of course, tune into the Moon Astrology Tarot videos I publish here on YouTube every time the moon changes signs. So you'll have more detailed information for that. And as always, thank you. I appreciate you all so much for all of the comments on every video. I really appreciate it. And, just appreciate y'all being here and being a part of my channel, my community, all of the things. Of course, check out Admiral Sarah Chronicles, where I am turning science fiction into science nonfiction. That's a fun project that, I kid you not, was years in the making. And maybe I needed to know astrology to make it make sense. Maybe I needed to understand Pluto and Aquarius to make it make sense. But I always saw like emotional intelligence and personal development stuff when I watched Star Trek. So, which made me an extra nerd among my friends group who just wanted to drink beer and watch Star Trek. So, which I did that too, but then I had this nerd layer. Anyway, and then the Zodiac tea tastings. Of course, there will be one for Taurus. Excited about that. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the Aries tea tastings and that kind of thing. You can book with me. I do have readings available. I am working on a new program that will be launching soon, likely before the end of June. But I'm still trying to work through all the details on that. But it's going to be a multi-session program of astrology, like your natal astrology and personal development and coaching tools. So if that is something that perks your interest, drop me a comment and let me know that that's something you'd be interested in. And of course, links below, you can listen to my guest appearance on the Hearts Unleashed podcast with Abigail Gazda, where I talk about breaking up with your victimhood, which is what I feel like this whole time and space is about right now, is not being a victim to all the crazy shit that's going on in the world. There is my affiliate link below to join me over on the Awakening Spirit Collective. I do a monthly Zodiac season overview, and then I've been doing some bonus videos as well. And there's multiple practitioners, chakra dance, journaling. We have a monthly call, monthly group call. There's so much going on with the Awakening Spirit Collective, and it's building and growing all the time. So my affiliate link is below for that. And of course, thank you. Thanks for the follow. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. I just really appreciate it. I requested that you guys leave comments on my eclipse video, and y'all did. And it just filled my heart. As I was going through some family stuff at the time, and it just made my freaking day. So thank you so much for all that. Keep doing it. Let's keep building community here. And let's move on to the sun and rising signs. All right, welcome back to the sun and rising signs portion of the video, and feel free to jump around to your sun sign, your rising sign. Of course, this is based on whole sign, so take that into consideration. If you're somebody who uses a different calculation, like Placidus or something, then you may want to check in and find out which house this does show up for you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. Those who know. If you don't, that's okay. But I just wanted to put that out there. This is based on whole sign. So anyway, follow along accordingly. Skip ahead by chapter if you need to. Let's dive into this. All right, Aries. Aries, this full moon is happening in your 8th house. And therefore Taurus is your 2nd house, but we've got all of that. We've still got a sizable amount of energy in your 1st house and in your 12th house. So a lot of things going on with your spirituality, as well as your intimate relationships, financial intimacy, as well as physical intimacy and whatnot. And there's also obviously things going on with your self-worth. And I think Aries is kind of feeling this, like, how they perceive themselves, and therefore how their partners and or financial investments also perceive them. And it may mean that you need to, change things up. You may need to reevaluate and feel through, like, is this relationship that I'm in, whether it's a financial commitment or I'm not saying breakup, I'm not suggesting divorce, but I mean, maybe that's up to you. But this is definitely shining a light on your closest relationships to really see, is it spiritually in alignment with where you want to go? Is it worth, maybe it needs to be reevaluated, or maybe it's your relationship with yourself or with God that needs to be reevaluated, to really hone in on what that looks like for you, and make a shift with regard to your spirituality in order to maybe even take your relationship to the next level. We got the Believe in Your Own Magic deck for this full moon, and y'all got the nostalgia, focus on the here and now. Yeah, I think, like, this is where I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the what's coming, what has transpired, versus staying in the moment of, is this actually serving me right now? Is this investment, is this relationship serving me in the here and now? Is my relationship with God serving me in the here and now? And I think we get caught up in the, well, but there was nothing wrong with it a month ago. There was nothing wrong with this investment a month ago, but things have changed since then. Or maybe it's going to be okay in like 6 months to a year. No, in the here and now. And honestly, it's kind of one of those, like, if you walked away from this thing that is not serving you in this moment, if you walked away from it in 6 months, if it's no longer available, then you'll know that it wasn't. It's kind of like, if you love it, let it go. Right? If you love it, let it go. And if it comes back to you, then you'll know. But if it doesn't come back to you, then you'll know it wasn't worthy of you being a part of it. So that's what I got for Aries. All right, Taurus, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 7th house, which means the sun is in your 1st house. The Uranus-Jupiter conjunction happened in your 1st house. So you are potentially making some serious changes. And Tauruses are hard to change because y'all are stubborn, right? Nothing wrong with that at all. You also have a lot going on in your 12th house of spirituality, karmic cycles, subconscious, and then of course in your 11th house with groups, communities, and whatnot, where we've still got Saturn and Mars and Neptune. And so, you know, don't get swindled by a group or community. And in fact, this full moon may be exposing just that, and showing you that, you know, you've gotten caught up in something that's maybe not as bright as you thought. But also this could mean a lot about relationships in general. Your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your higher power, or the relationship you have with groups or communities, and maybe you missed something. And then Scorpio likes to investigate. It likes to dig down to the nitty gritty details. And so don't be surprised if this full moon like illuminates something that you're like, oh shit, I didn't even pay attention to that detail before, right? But yeah, and also like whatever epiphany you may have had from that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on April 20th, and of course the Mercury cazimi on the 11th would have been in your 12th house, and the solar eclipse in your 12th house. So, you know, you've had a lot kind of shine a light on your subconscious, meaning that you may have been dreaming differently. You may be subconsciously feeling a mindset shift, that would then be reflected in your appearance, and how you show up to the world, with a lot of activity now shifting to your first house. And so I don't know, I feel like, you know, you could be shifting, making Tauruses could be making a lot of changes in themselves. And we got the Believe in Your Own Magic deck, and Taurus, y'all got the spaceship. Don't be afraid to sing. Yeah, I think like stop being afraid to be yourself. Stop being afraid to shine your light. Stop being afraid to sing in public. Maybe you're a shower singer and it's time to sing in public. Perhaps it's one of those like, don't be afraid to like share your self with your friends, and get yourself out there, put yourself on stage, and allow the spotlight to be on you, and whatnot. And maybe that has to do with changing your appearance. So maybe you're gonna go get your hair cut or your clothes changed, or not your clothes changed, but like get a new wardrobe. Hopefully you change your clothes pretty regularly. But you know, I don't know, there could be a lot here around like how, you know, your subconscious making a massive shift that is now allowing you to get on stage and do the thing. Maybe you're going to do a podcast or a YouTube channel or some sort of social media, about the thing that you've been afraid to share this whole time. So this will be good for some Taurus. I can't wait to see how that plays out. All right. All right, Gemini, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 6th house, which means that the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happened in your 12th house. The Aries energy is in your 11th house, and Pisces energy is in your 10th house. So you've probably been through a lot, and you're honestly kind of gearing up for, like, I feel like where Taurus is about to go on stage, your stage is still being set. We don't have all the props right, and it's all subconscious. It's all, you know, this behind the scenes like preparation, because in a month or so you're gonna have Jupiter in your sign in Gemini for a year, and so there's something around what's going on with your subconscious that you kind of had an epiphany around with the Uranus Jupiter conjunction. But the 6th house being Scorpio, full moon is illuminating something in like your work routine, your daily health habits, that needs some tweaking. And so it's kind of like this behind the scenes, setting the stage for the new routine, the new whatever that's about to come out for you in the next month or so. And with the Aries in your 11th and Pisces in your 10th, things still probably look a little cloudy or seem a little cloudy, or confusing with everything that's happening in those areas. So with your public appearance, with groups and communities, with technology. But I think that clarity is starting to happen thanks to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. But once we move Jupiter into Gemini, I feel like that's when things are really going to upswing, and potentially upswing in a way that you're like, what? But yeah, I would really focus in on what's in the health area, what's in the service, being of service area, in the work habits, work routines that needs a little tweaking in this moment. We got the Believe in Your Own Magic deck, and for Gemini, we got the Thorns, which is weave together the crown you weave together the crown you deserve. Yeah. I feel like, yeah, not into the point of being entitled, but I think to the point of acknowledging your worth and your value. I think Geminis get kind of hated on a lot because they're constantly, changing their mind, and yeah, they're an air sign, they're a Mercury sign, they're kind of flaky, but I think that there's something important about that. That they can quickly, abruptly reevaluate situations and change trajectory fairly quickly. And so take all the bricks and build a wall, take all the thorns and weave a crown, and do all of the magical things that Geminis can do so well. So let's look out for Gemini. All right, Cancer, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 5th house, which is anything from inner child wounds to childlike playfulness, heart's desire, artistic creativity, playfulness, and all of that. The Jupiter-Uranus conjunction would have been in your 11th house of groups, communities, technology. There could have been some epiphanies around a new, potential social media group, or activity on social media. All the Aries energy has been around your 10th house, which is public appearance or public achievement, long-term goals. And then you still have a lot of 9th house energy, which is long distance travel, education, that sort of thing. But the full moon in the 5th, I really feel like there's something for you around nurturing a creative adventure, nurturing something that is going to bring about creation or creative works, artwork, that's probably going to support a community or a group setting. Like I said, this even could be like social media and creating, maybe it's a whole new video series, maybe it's a written post series, maybe it is a group, a Discord group, maybe it's a Reddit thing. Perhaps it's creating a membership on your YouTube channel, something like that, something that brings people together in a creative way. Maybe, and it's all about like nurturing that creative thread. Yeah. So something about you is wanting to go public. You're being driven to go public about something that's creative. And maybe you're pursuing something creative. This could even be did I say podcast? This could be a podcast too. And in the Believe in Your Own Magic deck, you got the Lioness. Well, that's interesting. Y'all are Cancer. You've earned all your stripes. Yeah, I think like you've done some work, you've done some healing work, and it's time to show that, share that. Like it's okay. And you've earned it. You've earned this opportunity to share what is coming, what you've been up to. So maybe it's publishing your songs on Spotify. Maybe it is publishing your ebook on Amazon, or something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing out tons of ideas here because I feel like there's something that you've been wanting to share creatively. And now you've like nurtured it enough, you've given it enough space to grow, and it's time to share it and get it out there for the rest of the world to see it. So use this energy to, thrive and flourish whatever you've been creating. Leo, this full moon is happening in your fourth house. This is happening on the fourth and 10th house axis, which is the ultimate like balance between home life and career goals and long-term goals and public appearance, public achievement. But this is illuminating something in your fourth house, which is emotional intelligence, home and foundation, maternal things, and those sorts of things. And I feel like Leos really have been in this balancing act between their home and what they actually want to be up to, or vice versa. They're up to something and they really want to be at home. And so I feel like Leos have kind of been back and forth on this, and it's kind of messing with your emotional intelligence. It's messing with your self-worth potentially, and all of that. It also is probably like having you like deal with your ego a little bit, or maybe you're having to like, shield your public appearance, your egotist, your egoic public self that usually wants to be more flamboyant or more out there and outgoing, but you're really sort of float like in this like floaty sense of where do I put my energy, and work-life balance is like the oldest coaching story there could be, right? It's something that every coaching service or program I've been a part of talks about, and I feel like you are really wanting to expand, and yet your home and foundation is rickety rockety, or it's moving through some sort of transformation that now is kind of it's getting to the point where it's unavoidable that you have to address whatever it is that's coming up. There also is something about like emotional intelligence, and maybe there's some emotion that you've been hiding, or emotion that you've like had unexpressed that is kind of bottling up. Scorpio does tend to bring out and bring up emotion. And so, if you're feeling like you need to move through some emotion, whether it's sadness or anger or just disappointment or just general like guilt, even around something, like now would be the time to take advantage of this Scorpio situation and allow that emotion to come out and come through for you. So for Leo in the Believe in Your Own Magic, we have the Witch, and this is justice is coming. Well, okay. Justice is, you gotta trust that whatever it is you're feeling unstable about, or that you're feeling, maybe it's even like a karmic, like somebody did you wrong type of shit, that justice is coming, and that if you were wronged, which we all have been at some point, right? This isn't just you, but I think like maybe you are the Leos are kind of that person that would be like, seek like revenge seeking or revenge seeking. And I think you can back off that. I think you can back off that and let karma do its thing. Let justice be what justice is, and you can pursue the thing that's closest to your heart. Leo, you are about the heart. You're ruled by the sun. And so it's really tuning into your heart space, and like, yeah, maybe you wanted to do this thing, but it's no longer aligning, and it's like taking too much of you to do that thing, when you really want to be doing something completely different, or at least realign or reevaluate what it is you actually want to be pursuing. So lots of stuff going on for Leo with this one. Wow. So that's what I got for Leo. Virgo, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your third house, which is about communication, particularly written communication, It's short distance travel, siblings or closest family members, opposing your ninth house, which is long distance travel, education, and whatnot. That's where the Jupiter Uranus conjunction was, and all of the Aries energy is your eighth house, which is intimate relationships, and finances, taxes. Didn't we just have tax day? And then, of course, the Pisces stuff is still happening in your seventh house. So your relationships have been under scrutiny. And it's time, like this full moon in Scorpio really could be permission for you to speak directly about what you want. And I've worked with a couple of Virgo risings, and that is one of our main topics of conversation, is speaking directly of what you want, and being clear, being concise. And this is that time. You get to say what you want, how you want it to go, and maybe not necessarily, you may be perceived as a bitch, and that's okay. I get perceived as a bitch all the time, and I don't think I am. I think I'm just direct. But this could also be about travel and saying what you need for a trip, saying what you want or how you want a trip to go. Maybe this is education and you're wanting to, pursue a new education venture, or you're wanting to be a professor or a teacher, and then going after that and saying how you want it to go. Maybe this is a presentation that you're making, and, however that goes, maybe this is something to do with finances, and, like taxes or inheritances, or something like that, that you need to, or you you're getting permission to speak or communicate how you need things to go. And just making, I don't know, I feel like it's just permission to be clear and concise and direct about how you need life to go for you, for ease, for comfort, for realignment, and all of that. In the Believe in Your Own Magic deck, you got the sun. Yeah, paint the sun back into your sky. Yeah, like Virgo, y'all get to be happy. Y'all get to be happy. You get to be sunshiny. You get to have it go your way. What isn't there like some corny saying about a cloudy day be your own sunshine, or whatever, be the sunshine in your day, or something like that? I don't know. I'm butchering the hell out of it, but I think you get the picture. Like, you get to feel the sunshine, you get to create the sunshine in your life, and you get to have it go easy, effortless, and your way. And no, it is not asking too much for it to go the way you need it to go. You are detail oriented, you are organized, you have specific interests, you have specific desires, and that is okay. I was recently listening to a podcast on unshaming the zodiac. And it just stood out to me, and perhaps because I've had a lot of Virgo clients, but it stood out to me that it like unshamed the whole detail criticism of being a Virgo. And I think it's important, if you know what you want and you know how it needs to go, you get to be that ray of sunshine for yourself. So that's what I got for Virgo. All right, Libra, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your second house, which is all about self-worth, money, your values, possessions that you value, your relationship with money. You just had that Uranus Jupiter conjunction in your eighth house. And it might have even stirred up some stuff around money, or money merging, or taxes, or inheritances, or how you and your intimate partner manage money, deal with money, deal with financial situations, deal with investments. And now you're maybe having some things pop up about your self-worth, about your relationship with money, and how you personally deal with money. You are, of course, still experiencing a lot with relationships because of the planet still being in Aries. which directly opposes you. And there may be some things coming up around like your daily routines and still feeling a little out of whack with your daily routines or a little foggy with your daily routines. And so, I would say focus on what things really you value. What do you really value? And is it serving you? Is it really serving your highest good, your highest investment in yourself to continue whatever it is you're up to? Or is there something that really drastically needs to shift, whether it's in your daily routines, your health habits, your relationships, or how you manage or deal with money? And money matters. So Libras, you're still going through it. It's going to continue. The good news is the nodes are halfway through. The south node is halfway through your sign. And so my nose has been itching through this whole Libra forecast. So I feel like that means something. I don't know what that means. But it's interesting that my nose started itching as soon as I started talking about Libra. But I definitely feel like there is something, you're definitely going through it. I get that. And there's also a lot to be gained from what's transpiring, what's coming up for you, and just know that reevaluating your relationships, your money situation, your self-worth, your relationship with money is a good thing. It's a positive thing. It's gonna be okay. And just really tune into how what it all feels like. Oh, wow, you got the Phoenix. This is how's that for a happily ever after? Yeah, like what just came up for you with that Uranus Jupiter? How's that for a happily ever after? Yeah, I feel like this is a good card. I like this card. I like that little saying. I think this is, things can be easy. They can be effortless with money. They can be fun with money. And money gets to be fun and playful and balanced and all of the things. And so, but there's definitely some work to be done. But I think the happily ever after, like maybe I'll just change up partners. Maybe you just ended a relationship, you're getting into a new one, and everything is just flowing. Maybe this is a business partnership, business relationship, or a new investor relationship. And it's just things are just swimming and flowing. So how's that for a happily ever after? That's what I got for Libra. Scorpio, welcome to your full moon. This is obviously happening in your first house. Might even be conjunct some of your placements. It is conjunct my rising, I think, close enough. And you've been through it. You've been through it. The Jupiter-Uranus conjunction would have been in your seventh house, so you probably have some new relationships or something that changed or shifted or was surprising in a relationship. And the Aries Mercury Kazemi, the solar eclipse, and all of the Aries activity would have been in your sixth house. So you've been reevaluating your commitment to your daily routines, your work habits, your health habits. And then you still got fifth house things happening with Pisces stuff. And so, creating some new things, but this is, you're maybe like reflecting on your wardrobe, reflecting on your appearance, how you show up to the world, how you present yourself, your clothes, your attire, your hair, maybe it's your makeup. I guess not for guys, maybe for guys, I don't know. Maybe it's your jewelry. I don't know. These are the things that I've been kind of thinking about lately too. But also it could just be your personality, how you want to be seen by the rest of the world. And just, yeah, what your role is in relationships. I mean, Scorpios are kind of a don't tolerate bullshit type of people anyway. And that may be like setting some seriously strict boundaries, because you got to create the things with all that Piscean energy and whatnot. So I feel I'm loving this Scorpio moon for Scorpios. We got the library. Take control of your own narrative. Yeah. I have picked this card like twice. Um, not in these sun and rising signs, but twice in the last day, because I was picking this deck for something else. And so I think, Scorpios, you get to rewrite your narrative, you get to say how it's going to go. And so, when I was writing my fictional narrative, that's in process of being published, when I was writing that, I was able to like rewrite my love story, and how I met my partner in, my boyfriend in the book. And it felt good. It felt good to write this love story for myself. So, but think about that in your real life. Like, you get to change how the narrative goes, right? If you don't want to be in toxic relationships, if you don't want to be in a crappy work environment, if you don't want to be in those environments, you get to rewrite this. You get to say how it goes. And do the things that actually allow you to be artistic, be creative, be more fluid, and all of those things that really allow you to express all that Scorpio energy in different ways. So I love this for Scorpio. I love this full moon for Scorpio. I think it's our time to shine, as well as a Scorpio can shine. So anywho, hopefully, drop a comment. Do you have Scorpio placements? Is this landing on any of your Scorpio placements? I would love to hear how it's all showing up for you, especially with the Jupiter Uranus in our 7th house. What happened in our relationships around that. So yeah, that's what I got for Scorpio. Sagittarius, this full moon is happening in your 12th house of karmic cycles, spirituality, subconsciousness, and therefore the Jupiter Uranus conjunction would have been in your 6th house. The Aries energy is in your 5th house. And of course, we still have the Saturn, Mars, Neptune energy in your 4th house. So still a lot happening with your home and foundation, emotional intelligence. This is a Scorpio full moon in your 12th, which is Piscean themed. So there could be a lot of emotional processing here for Sagittarius. There could also be a lot of home and foundation issues. By foundation, I don't mean like the physical, it could be the physical foundation of your house, but it really could be your family, who you're at home with, the vibe, the feelings you have when you're at home. Do you feel safe to be yourself when you're at home? And then how that relates to your creativity, or supports your creativity, and then how that translates into your work and your daily routines, and whatnot. And then all of this comes back to this 12th house full moon that is Scorpio or Scorpionic, and therefore it's like digging up all of the everything, right? Scorpio gets to the bottom of business. And so it's like what may need to shift in your subconscious to create the shift in the rest of your life. I mean, the 4th house, 5th house, 6th house kind of covers a lot of ground for you. And I feel like, some Sages need to reevaluate all of the things. But it starts with your subconscious. Surround yourself with love. Yeah, lavender. I think it's, are you able to be comfortable in your home, comfortable expressing your emotions, comfortable feeling vulnerable, comfortable feeling unsafe, comfortable expressing yourself, comfortable being creative, comfortable entertaining your hobbies or entertaining guests. all of these things. Are you comfortable to grab a workout when you need to, or, you know, avoid substances if that's what you're wanting to do? Those sorts of things. Like maybe there's just a constant peer pressure in your home to partake and you don't want to because you're trying to clear things, you know, clear your mind. And so, yeah, I feel like this lavender card really speaks to some energy that Sages are potentially experiencing around their, you know, they're wanting to clear things up, but their home life is perhaps not supporting that. So probably some reevaluation going on for Sages. So send y'all some love. Capricorn, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 11th house, which means that the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happened in your 5th house. And the Aries stuff was in your 4th house, and the Pisces things are happening in your 3rd house. So groups, communities, and technology, innovation, and creativity. I feel like, did you have an epiphany, a creative epiphany around that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction? That started with something changing up in your home foundation, emotional intelligence, with all the Aries energy. But I feel like this is you distancing yourself from maybe a specific group. Maybe it's shining a light on a group, community, or technology or innovative project that you were previously unwilling to see. Maybe you have created some things that you're ready to launch by way of technology, something to do with music, something to do with art. And maybe you're having to relocate your home situation in order to, you know, maybe some Capricorns about to move to like LA or New York in order to like pursue theater or pursue music or something like that. I mean, that really could be what this is. But it doesn't have to be, of course. And maybe it's, you know, moving closer to art venues, or maybe it's moving closer to be around a more aligned community or a group that supports your creative nature. And this could be online, like opening an Etsy shop or opening a, you know, a TikTok shop or something like that. It could be that kind of thing too. Maybe you're, you know, again, I go back to Discord too. It could be something like that where you're creating a group around this creative project that you've started, or epiphany that you've had. And you got the Princess card. You can be your own knight. Yeah. Capricorns have been through it, and they're going to continue to be through it with Pluto in the 2nd, in that self-worth house. But it's kind of like you've got to pull your bootstraps up if you really want your creative project or your creative venture to be successful or to get out into the public. You've got to kind of be that person to pull it together and make that happen. And so I really like this for Capricorn. I think Capricorns are going to be up to some stuff. After, you know, after 15 years of Pluto, you finally kind of got it going a different direction. You got some creative juice flowing. And so lots of change coming up potentially for Capricorns. All right, Aquarius, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 10th house, which is long-term goals, public achievement, and whatnot. Of course, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction would have then been in your 4th house of home foundation, emotional intelligence. The Aries things would have been in your 3rd house of communication, siblings, short distance travel. And then of course you've got Saturn and Mars and Neptune and Pisces in your 2nd house, all about your self-worth, but you got Pluto in your 1st house. And this is long-term goals. The Scorpio full moon is about long-term goals and public achievement. And I feel like this for Aquarius is getting yourself out there. It's really zeroing in on that niche group that aligns with your nerdy your out there self. Like maybe you're finally going to find the group of people who do what you do and who appreciate what you do, even if it doesn't make sense to them. I got lots of friends who that this shit doesn't make sense to them and they love it. They love that I do it and that I'm committed to it. And so, but I think like being you is going to bring in that niche group that's going to open up all of the doors and the windows of opportunity for you, which could then come back to, you know, like I said, the short distance travel, and relationships with siblings and or other close family members. That Saturn, Mars, Neptune in your second house could be about boundaries, could be about, you know, knowing that you're going to be who you are and it's okay if people don't like it. I don't need, you know, you don't need to have like sort of the F off sort of situation, but also just, you know, avoiding people who don't honor you, kind of thing. But I would say for this full moon, kind of feel through and focus on like creating or attracting in that niche group of people that love what you're up to. You got the villain. You can always rewrite the story. Sometimes you got to be the villain because that's what people think when you set up boundaries, when you establish boundaries, people think you're a villain, right? People like you as long as they can get away with all their shit on you. But as soon as that you set those boundaries and people can't, you know, can't mess with you anymore, it's like, okay, now you're the villain, now you're the bad guy. But it's okay to be the bad guy, because what happens is when we establish boundaries and we uphold our boundaries, we allow in the people who actually do honor us and who support us and who thrive on watching us do what we do. So Aquarius, embrace this time, embrace who you are and that you are, you know, getting yourself out there and doing the thing that you do. And it's okay that you're perceived as the villain in somebody else's story. That's what I got for Aquarius. All right, last but not least, Pisces. Pisces, this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your ninth house, potentially trining or supporting, giving you some harmonizing aspects to your Pisces placements. And this could be some long distance travel. I feel like the solar eclipse, the Mercury cazimi in your second house kind of gave you some sort of shift in your self-worth. And then, of course, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction would have given you some kind of a shift or wake-up call by way of communication or relationship with siblings. And then we have this full moon in Scorpio in your ninth house, which is all about higher education, being a teacher, being a guru, but also long-distance travel. So some Pisces could be hop in the pond, who knows, right? But maybe this is just higher learning. Like maybe you are going to take on some new education adventure, or you're gonna go travel somewhere to get some sort of soul cleansing, or maybe you need to go be by the ocean, or something like that. You're still going through it with Neptune, Mars, and Saturn still in your first house. However, I feel like Pisces kind of got some good sparkle juice from the eclipse and the cazimi in their second house of self-worth and value. And so there's some sort of new something that is potentially bringing in some money, or maybe it's reevaluating your relationship with money, those sorts of things. And so for Pisces, we got the garden. Well, dang. Something lovely something lovely will grow. Yeah. Something lovely will grow from this. Yeah. So some seeds have been planted. That's sort of what I suspect with the Aries eclipse and the Mercury Cazimi in Aries, I feel like some seeds were planted, and you had some epiphanies, you had some downloads, and now like maybe this travel or education is allowing that to thrive, whatever that is for you. So yeah, that pretty much speaks for itself for Pisces. All right. That's what I got for the sun and rising signs. That's what I got for the Scorpio full moon. Thank you all so much for tuning in and being a part of the growth of my channel. I really appreciate you being here. Like I said, leaving your comments and things, and all of the new subscribers and whatnot. I really appreciate it. And I will see you on the regular Moon Astrology Tarot and the Admiral Sarah Chronicles, and of course the Zodiac Tea Tastings and all of that. I appreciate you, and please let me know how the eclipse was for you, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction was for you. So that would have been April 8th and April 20th. Would love to know what came of those. And then you can come back after the full moon and be like, oh yeah, it all culminated at the full moon, and now Mercury is direct on the 25th, and boom, it all just came together. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you on the next video. Bye-bye.